Hey, good morning. Welcome to the latest installment of our How to Solve It webinar series. My name is Ryan Field, Application Engineer here at 3D Vision Technologies. Today we want to talk about using eDrawings for free to view and share your 2D and 3D CAD data from SOLIDWORKS and other CAD platforms. So let's start off first by talking about why do you need eDrawings. Right, well, you create your designs in SOLIDWORKS and you need to share that information. Sure, right, if you're working with and sharing with your colleagues who are working in your engineering department, they probably have SOLIDWORKS and they can easily open your files. Right, but you need to collaborate with a lot of different people in order to get your final product done. Right, you may need to share with customers so that you can get the product that they want, right, with your suppliers so that they are giving you the components that are going to fit correctly with your design, and with your management team to get approval, or other departments like manufacturing, right, who need to see the files in order to produce them, right? But if none of these people have SOLIDWORKS, how do we communicate that information to them? So that's really what eDrawings does for us. It really acts as that conduit that facilitates the viewing of our SOLIDWORKS data with those who do not have SOLIDWORKS. So the next 15-20 minutes or so, we kind of wanted to jump into eDrawings and kind of see what abilities we have in there. We'll start off by kind of looking at the user interface just in general, just to see how the look and feel there. Then jump into the capabilities that we have. Then after that, we're talking about the free version of the eDrawings viewer, and there is an eDrawings Professional that you can purchase. So we kind of look at maybe some of the limitations there with the eDrawings viewer. And finally, not just SOLIDWORKS types, but other file types that we can view and access. So let's start off by looking at the user interface here. We'll jump over here into eDrawings, right, and look at their user interface. We have that kind of standard menu bar with file, view, tool menus here, saving options, right, security options in there. And for those of you familiar with SOLIDWORKS, this came over from there, the heads-up display, where we can manipulate our model, pan, zoom, rotate around in the model, kind of interrogate that to see exactly what we're looking for. Different viewing options, like looking at our different orientations, like our front, top, and right views, and any display styles, like looking at similar to SOLIDWORKS, like our silhouette edges, remove shaded edges, stuff like that. Down at the bottom of the screen, you saw these in the view and tools menus, right? But we have these large icons here for different easy access to different features, right? And those are large there for those of us with touchscreen monitors, right? You can easily get in and access those. Jump over into an assembly file, right, with some different properties in there, depending on what type of file we have. And also, right, we can review 2D data as well. So look at our drawing here, right? We have those different options for our drawings. One other thing to note, just kind of wanted to point out, right, looking at drawings and assemblies, like in SOLIDWORKS, right, you have those references there. So if you open up a drawing that maybe the part file changed, but the drawing hasn't been updated yet, that's viewing the actual SOLIDWORKS drawing, right? It can give you a watermarked message kind of telling you that the file may be out of date and telling you should probably go in and update that drawing file to match the part file. So that option is in there within eDrawings when viewing the actual SOLIDWORKS files themselves. So here with the user interface, again, you kind of have that familiar look and feel, easy to use. For those that aren't familiar with SOLIDWORKS, right, it is easy for those end users to kind of get in there, learn it, and interrogate the model to pull that in, to get that needed information. All right, so now let's jump back into it and kind of look at some of the capabilities in there. We saw the features, let's kind of look at what they do. Right, we have the ability to measure, right? We can go in, measure based off of lines, vertices, circle, holes right in our part. We can grab the diameter, the depth, right off our holes. And also, are you familiar with the measure tool in SOLIDWORKS, right? We're working with a 3D file here, so we can get our X, Y, Z coordinates of dimensioning. We can then go over, right, if we're viewing the E-files here, we can look at different material properties that may be in the part, density, mass, stuff like that, so we can understand the full parameters there of the part. And again, what we're trying to do here is get feedback, right, with this viewer, so we can add notes or markups right within our file. And also, right, some of the times our parts, our drawings don't have multiple configurations. Here I created one with a raw stock version, right? So we can view different configurations of our models. All right, so now let's jump over into an assembly. Right, you can see now we have some more options down here at the bottom. Right, if you built in have exploded views in that model, we can read those in eDrawings. Right, so you can see how your assembly may come apart, go back together. You can manually manipulate that to kind of see exactly what you need to see. Again, have the same abilities of removing and rotating and measuring as in parts. And the section tool actually is available at the part level as well. We can get in and go ahead and section our parts as needed, grab different planes, kind of get in there and see exactly what we may need to see. And we can base this off of just faces as well, right? Or faces act as planes if we need to. Flip those directions around to get exactly the information that we want. Similarly, again, to parts, right? If we have different configurations of our assemblies, we can get in and change those assemblies around and view those. And also, right, with assemblies, right, we probably have an assembly tree, right, of our parts list, if you will. Right, so we have the ability to review that, go in, filter through those to find different parts. We have that cross-referencing between that and the model, and some visualization tools where we can isolate, hide, show different feature easily. Do that with our model to kind of see the specific parts that we need to. I'll reset that model, and then also if you have 3D views, right, if you created those in your SOLIDWORKS model, you have the ability to view those 3D views in eDrawings as well. Now let's go ahead and jump over into a drawing. All right, so we're reviewing our 2D drawing here. Again, we can measure here, maybe the drawing is missing a dimension, right? We have the ability to go in and pull dimensions off of the measurements off of our part. And again, we're trying to get feedback on our drawing, so what better way than adding notes or markups right in our file. So let me add that thicken note again here, right? So we want to provide that feedback, or our customers providing that feedback to us. And this time, I'm going to go ahead and let's just save that markup file. I'm going to grab it, save that out as a .markup. I'll just call this one number 3 here. And we have those markups saved. We'll come back to that in a minute. Drawings, right? A lot of times we have multiple sheets in our drawings. We can view those different sheets in our drawing, go in, interrogate the specific views within each one of those sheets, go back and toggle back and forth between our sheet views. And also if you have layers, right? Maybe you have dimensions or notes on different layers, we can kind of isolate those by checking on and off those different layers. All right, so let's jump back over into SOLIDWORKS here real quick. And we talk about those markup file that we just created. Let's go ahead and open up our drawing. I'm going to grab the drawing of that part where we'd sent out to customer. He provided feedback, send us back. He could send us back the eDrawing file, or if he just sends the markup, we can view that right in our SOLIDWORKS drawing. So I'm going to go over to Insert tool here, and let's just insert that markup file right into this model. And add that in, and now we've provided that, or we've added that instant feedback right into our model, so we can now go in and make those changes as needed, real quickly and effortlessly. So with eDrawings, right, we have the ability to review not just parts, but assemblies, drawings as well. Right, and easily and quickly, we can provide as well as get feedback from customers, from management, from other departments, and the ability to access not just the part and manipulate that, but we can have the ability to see different configurations, different drawing sheets, properties, material properties, custom properties as well. So that was looking at kind of overall capabilities within eDrawings, the eDrawings viewer. But let's kind of look at where we may have some limitations there. The first thing kind of want to touch on is who has access to eViewer and the eDrawings Professional. And we should take a step back further too and look at SOLIDWORKS as well. So as with SOLIDWORKS, there's a standard professional and a premium version. And with eDrawings, we have the viewer, the free viewer, and eDrawings Professional. So with SOLIDWORKS Professional and the premium versions, eDrawings Professional comes included with those. The viewer, right, who's going to need the viewer? Maybe if you only have SOLIDWORKS Standard, or if you're a department that doesn't have SOLIDWORKS, or a vendor who doesn't have SOLIDWORKS but needs to view those files, right? Maybe the free eDrawings viewer should be something that you could download. You can also purchase the professional version as well. But we want to kind of focus on the eDrawings viewer here and kind of look at what the limitations are there. And it's not some, right, there's no limitations with the rotating and kind of zooming in, zooming out, all of that kind of stuff with our model, but some of the other features may be limited depending on what type of file we're looking at and where it's coming from, right, such as measuring, marking up, looking at properties, adding security, looking at our different configurations. Again, it's kind of actually more important where that file is coming from, not necessarily where we're viewing it. Are just as important, right? So we can create parts in SOLIDWORKS Standard, SOLIDWORKS Professional, Premium, where we can view those in the eViewer. We can also look at just the SOLIDWORKS file themselves, or publish those out to eParts or eFiles, right? The parts, assemblies, and drawings. So let's kind of jump in and kind of fill out this matrix here to kind of see what limitations we have depending on where our parts are coming from. So I'm going to jump over here into SOLIDWORKS Standard, and we have a part here with multiple configurations. I want to look at our custom properties. We've added some drawn by dates and drawn by part numbers in there. So we have some custom configurations, or custom properties. So let's go out and save that. We have our SOLIDWORKS part, but now let's save it as an ePart. I'm going to save that as an ePart, and let's look at some different options we have here. I'm going to go in, right, we have the ability to turn on measuring this file. Again, not so much important here in Standard, and we'll see that in a minute. But now we're saving that out. It converts that and creates a ePart for us. Let's save our SOLIDWORKS part, and then let's jump over into eDrawings viewer. So I'm going to go ahead and let's open up that part that we created in SOLIDWORKS Standard and the ePart. So we have our ePart here, and now let's go ahead to grab our SOLIDWORKS file and open up the SOLIDWORKS file directly. All right, so we'll take a look. Let's start looking at the ePart here. If you come down, right, we can rotate and stuff around, but we can't measure. We don't have the ability to see any mass properties, or don't have the ability to mark up. Right, same custom properties not supported here as well, coming from SOLIDWORKS Standard with the ePart. We can add security, and this is new in 2017 at the viewer level, where we can add password protection to our eParts. So we go ahead and let's close that out, open that back up. Okay, oops, we need to grab the ePart here, not the SOLIDWORKS part. And what to expect, right? We have to put a password in, so we've added that level of security into our model. So now let's go over to viewing the actual SOLIDWORKS file itself. Again, the markup properties measures not available. If we come down, custom properties, here it is. Now we view those custom properties that came over that are within that part file. So kind of summarize that a little bit. When you're viewing in eViewer with parts coming from SOLIDWORKS Standard, a little bit of limitations in some of the measuring features, right? We can't measure, mark up, or look at material properties. In the ePart, we can't add that password, right? That new functionality in 2017, right from to add it at the eDrawings level. Remember we had configurations of that part. We didn't have either option there to view the configurations, just the current one as it was saved or viewed. And custom properties. With the SOLIDWORKS part, we do have the ability to view those custom properties. So now let's do the same thing over here, but now I'm in SOLIDWORKS Premium, or Professional would be the same. We'll go out, right, we have our different configurations. We have material there, plain carbon steel, and we have our custom properties. Let's go ahead and save that one out as an ePart. And we'll look at the options. And here it's important, right? We say, okay, in eViewer, we want to be able to measure that part. And now with Professional and Premium, we can add the password right here, kind of saving that extra step of having to do that. Add eDrawings, we can add a password as we're creating it in SOLIDWORKS. And it gives us the option to bring over, ask us what configurations we want to bring over. We want to grab all of those configurations, and we'll save that eDrawings file and the SOLIDWORKS part, and we'll jump back over now into the eDrawings viewer. So here, let's go ahead and open up the SOLIDWORKS part itself created in SOLIDWORKS Premium, and let's grab the E part that we created in SOLIDWORKS Premium. And as you'd expect, right, let's click on Open. It's going to ask us for that password right away. So we don't have to take that extra step of creating it here in the eDrawings file. So now, right, in the E part, we have the ability to measure, right, because we turn that ability on when we created the part in SOLIDWORKS Pro or Premium. We can view those material properties, right? That was plain carbon steel. There's the mass of our part. And now we can add those markups in, right? Those important markups we want to add in for that collaboration. Add my note here, my markup. And whatever here, also we have our configurations, right? We have that default and that raw material configuration that we created. We can view those different configurations here in the E part. But in the E part, either way, the custom property is not available when viewing the E part. Jump over to the SOLIDWORKS part. Again, we have those measuring capabilities. Don't have the material properties or the mass properties, but we can mark up as well. And the custom properties are available here when viewing the SOLIDWORKS part. So kind of in summarizing that a little bit, right, when we're viewing in eViewer still, but viewing parts that came from SOLIDWORKS Pro or Premium, right, that have eDrawings Professional, where we get those measure and markup capabilities over there, the ability to view configurations when looking at the E versions, the E files, and also, right, password protect right in the SOLIDWORKS model itself. Don't have to do it at the eDrawings level. All right, and lastly, we were talking about, we've been looking at SOLIDWORKS files so far, but what if your customer uses Inventor, right, or some other file types, or you get neutral file types? Do we have the ability to view those? So let's take a look at the different options that we have there. I'm going to go back over into eDrawings, right, open up my file types here, right, there's those eDrawing types, our SOLIDWORKS file types, DWG files. We also see we have Autodesk, CATIA, V5, V6, Pro E. Right, let's open up this Inventor file here, Inventor Assembly, and see how this looks compared to the SOLIDWORKS files we opened. Right, looks, we can kind of do the same things here. We have our measure and markup, rotating our part around, moving our parts to be able to view those. Measure could do at the Premium Professional level. Component list is there, right? We can go in and do our view manipulations of our different parts right within the Inventor file here. If you want to measure, again, you'd have to use the eDrawings Professional version. So let's go out with neutral CAD file types. IGES and step files we have the ability to open. And also the newer type of step file is more and more popular, the step 242, that contains all the PMI information. Right, so we can view and manipulate all that manufacturing information right within eDrawings viewer from those neutral CAD file types. So they're not only with other CAD types, CAD files, but we can view those neutral CAD file types as well as reviewing and looking at manufacturing information, that PMI data right within our model. So to summarize there, while we saw some limitation when we're in the eDrawings viewer with parts coming from SOLIDWORKS standard, right, the eDrawings viewer still is a really great and free tool for collaborating, sharing information with customers, with vendors, with managers or other departments in your company. Right, with that familiar look and feel, you can easily and quickly give and receive feedback to make that process much more efficient. If you want to download the viewer, right, you can just go out to eDrawingsviewer.com. We'll type that in here. And right, just download the eDrawings viewer. If you're using, right, there's the option down here for downloading the desktop option for Windows. right? But also for a Mac, if you have a Mac, you can use that on the Mac as well. So a quick plug for our next How to Solve It webinar. My colleague, our CAE specialist, Bill Roos, will be looking at SOLIDWORKS simulation and doing some thermal analysis there. So if you're interested in learning more about SOLIDWORKS simulation, please go out to our website and register for that webinar. So with that, I wanted to open it up to any questions. If you have any questions, please go ahead and just type them in on the menu there. We'll address those as they come in. Okay, looks like we don't have any questions. I'd like to thank you for attending the webinar.